Welcome to this video where we will learn how the issue resolution process works and how we use action items to complete this process. The first thing we need to recognize in order to make an improvement is the issue itself. If you are familiar with the concept of lean manufacturing, you'll remember that approximately 90% of what we do is non-value added activity. This means wasted activities are hiding everywhere in the workplace and making your job less efficient. These are issues, so the key is to capture these issues as soon as we spot them. For this reason, we have created the Issues Board, located in every department in the shop. This system is intended to give everyone a voice and enable them to capture issues so they can go through the resolution process and get them resolved. Each time we resolve an issue, we have taken a bite out of that 90% waste and improved the process. As long as we can prevent from backsliding into that waste again, the effects will compound and make a huge difference in the long run. So how do we capture an issue? The key to capturing issues is to notice anytime you are struggling to do something, or anytime something bugs you. Write it on your issues board on one of the magnetic cards as soon as you can so you don't forget about it. This is a good opportunity to talk about getting to the root of the issue. Often, the thing that is bugging you is the result of something going wrong at a deeper level than where you may be experiencing it at the moment. For this reason, we encourage you to ask what we refer to as the 5 whys. The point is not to ask why 5 times, but to ask why as many times as needed to get to the root of the problem. When you find something that bugs you or is causing struggle, it helps to write it down. Then ask this question: is there something upstream that is causing this issue? If so, write that down. Then ask the same question about that issue. Keep asking that question until you get to the root of the problem. You may only need to ask why once, and you may need to ask why 7 times. The most important thing is that you capture the issue if something is bugging you, because that is an opportunity for improvement. Here is an example of how this works.
So the problem that he saw as the manager of the machine shop, his machines would often break down, and his people would often just attach a Band-Aid. They would only stop it at the first level of cause, meaning that the problems would recur, they would come back. So he trained himself and his people then to always ask the 5 whys, sometimes 3, sometimes 8, the point being to follow the causal chain all the way down to a root cause. So in this example, he looked at a machine that had stopped working and identified with the first why that it had blown a fuse in the control box because it was overloaded. The overload caused the fuse to blow. Then he didn't stop there, asked why again, and recognized that insufficient lubrication was getting to the bearing. So the bearing, therefore, was causing the overload on the machine. Not stopping there, he went to the next cause and asking why, found that the pump was not drawing lubricant, so the lubricant then would not be sent to the bearing. Still not stopping there, okay, why, again, was the pump not drawing lubricant? Because the shaft was worn, causing it to rattle and not function properly. Now, another why there led him to a root cause, which was that there was no strainer that allowed metal chips to enter in and damage the pump. So with the damaged shaft, that would mean that the pump wasn't drawing lubricant, so that there wasn't enough lubrication going to the bearing. That overloaded the machine and blew a fuse, and that stopped the machine from working. So he's got a 5 why causal chain going down to the root cause, and you can check that with a therefore chain going up as well. So now he knows if I apply a countermeasure here, which is to make sure there's a strainer, then the problem will be solved so that it doesn't come back. So this is what can be accomplished with a fairly simple way of thinking, so that we're not just putting Band-Aids on symptoms, that we're solving problems at the root cause.
Another thing to note when capturing issues is the tendency to put down an idea or an actual solution as an issue. For example, quote, "Need to talk to Bob about getting a hammer at Station 1, unquote. As you can see, this is an action request, not an issue. The issue would actually be, there is not a hammer at the building station number 1, and the solution is to take action and talk to Bob about getting one. This is an example of an issue with an obvious immediate solution, which we will talk about in more detail shortly. Great, now you know how to capture an issue using the Issues Board. The next step will be for the supervisor to bring up these issues in your weekly department meeting. If anyone has an immediate solution, they can present their idea during this time. This will trigger an action item ticket, which we will walk you through shortly. If there is not an immediate solution presented, this meeting is not the time to brainstorm a solution for the issue, and one of the following steps should be taken. Number 1. If the issue is urgent and needs a solution right away, the supervisor should immediately assign an action item to him or herself or to someone else to schedule a Tiger Team meeting with the purpose of solving this urgent issue. At that meeting, an action item ticket will be started. If the issue is not urgent, the issue will simply remain on the issues board and be elevated to the weekly traction meeting. To do this, the supervisor needs to bring the magnetic cards that the issues are written on to the traction meeting, or write them on an action item ticket. Erase the magnetic card and bring the ticket to the traction meeting. Okay, so now let's explain how an action item ticket works. The action item ticket serves two main purposes. Number 1, it is to capture all of our improvements in one place, so that we can measure our rate of continuous improvement. The second purpose is to standardize the way this happens by formatting the improvements into a standardized form. This form captures the issue, the solution, the waste that will be reduced, who is responsible to act on the solution, and when it should be done. We can then plug these action item tickets into the traction meeting system we already have running to create accountability and document the improvements we make. When an action item ticket is started, it is put in the In Process folder. All in-process action item tickets will be brought to the weekly traction meetings where completed tickets can be reported and filed, and incomplete tickets can be discussed in the meeting. So let's go over the action item ticket form. It starts with the issue. The issue should be written in one sentence as mentioned at the beginning of this video. The key is to identify the root cause so that the solution is as effective as possible. After the issue has been identified, we want to identify which wastes apply to this issue, because if you can't identify the waste that it is creating, it is not really an issue. The next step is to come up with a solution and write it down as an action item for someone to complete. Take note that if this solution will be a visual change, a reminder to take a before picture should be added as part of the action. Assign this action to one individual who takes full accountability to carry it out. Sometimes more than one action is needed to solve an issue. In this case, you may need to assign a separate action item to more than one individual as part of the solution. Simply write "See Back" in the action category and write the separate action items and who they are assigned to on the back. It is important to remember that if the action will include any of the following criteria, it needs to have get permission from the production manager as part of the action item. These criteria are: A significant change to standard operating guidelines will occur. B. It will require the movement of stationary equipment or machines. C. You will need to add or purchase items that will occupy additional floor space, such as machines, carts, or tables. D. It includes a change to the floor plan. Or E. It will require permanent attachments to the building. If an action item requires the purchase of tools over $10, an action item to the supervisor should be given to carry out this request, to the CIT manager, shift manager, or production manager. This ensures that all purchases meet the approval of the supervisor before being requested, and that manager approval is given before making new purchases. The next step is to assign a due date for this action to be completed. Once an individual completes their action item, they are responsible to signify its completion by checking the completed box located on the ticket, or if multiple action items were assigned on the back, put a check mark by your name. The next step reminds us of the importance of sharing these improvements with others. If the change is something we can visually see, we would like for you to share a before and an after picture of the improvement to 2secondqualitycraft@gmail.com. A QR link shortcut is available to link you directly to the email address on your phone or mobile device. Simply scan the code, select Send SMS Message, attach the photo, and you're done. Check the box once complete. The last step is to document the improvement. A CI team will file the improvement and audit the solution and improvement to try to make sure no waste is created downstream as a result of the solution. The root of the problem was addressed and the proper permissions and communications have taken place. And that completes the process of an action item ticket and the issue resolution process.